Gone, foul demons that haunt this recording. You telling me I'm cursed?
Yes!
My name is Cale Blakely. I am in 11th grade and I'm here because I love the craft. I'm into the performing arts. I like doing theater, like singing, like dancing. I like it all. I always enjoyed like speaking at like public events and like doing talking, which I know is most people's like deadly fear, but I always just like find more of like an adrenaline rush in doing it. And I find that I can speak fairly concisely, so I just figured theater would be a natural fit, and singing stuff like that would just work out well for me. Like true theater, I started around like 8th grade doing the musicals and stuff, and I've worked in like Millbrook, CTL, and the CAC, just really spread myself around. But like the first time I had a phase earlier in my life where I was into theater, then I just like kind of dropped out of it and picked it up recently. When I was younger, I was in a church musical in 3rd grade where I got to play a Christian version of iCarly, and I got to be Freddie, you know, good old cameraman. Around the same time, singing and theater tend to go hand in hand, very similar arts. Just decided, you know, singing, well, that's why I wanted to do the choir, was in 8th grade. I tried out 6th grade, but I thought the vocal exercises were really weird, so I never made it to the actual songs. I kind of dropped out partway, but then 8th grade I was like, might as well give it a shot. And it was a good time, so I stuck with it. I prefer musicals. I just love, you know, the razzmatazz of a song and dance. That's just like my favorite part of songs, flashy chorus lines, you know. Acting's fun too, but I just generally enjoy singing a little bit more than acting, so musicals is what I tend to err towards. Plays are completely carried upon how you speak each line, really. Like, it's much more dependent upon the actor's prerogative to be able to sell the story, because musicals, you know, how you have all these diversions of like songs and dances that the audience can focus their mind onto. But with plays, you only have the actor on stage speaking. There's, of course, there's like background set and stuff like that, but it's mostly just you and the audience out there, and that's just probably that's an interesting part of plays, I think. Well, I did Millbrook the year before, and that worked out well, but it was mostly in a purely like adult theater. They don't really have like kids shows super often. So I decided to try out down at Williamsport this year, and I went for both CAC and CTL, and I thought West Side Story was a particularly interesting musical to be in, so I just saw the CTL was putting it on, and I decided to give it a shot there. For the best best like overall like technical, like best show, best cast, like someone recently in the middle, that was West Side Story down at CTL. Was probably the best show I've ever been in. All of our leads were fantastic, ensemble work was solid, and they were good people. Arab was a really fun part to play. I got to be a little goofball kid who finally got exposed to like the realness of life when like one of his best friends gets murdered. I tend to do a decent amount of character development. I like to take a look at like different productions of the show if I can, see how certain people have done it, see if I can put my own spin on it in some way. But I tend to do best when I can draw off some other people's, because it's really hard to come at it with no direction whatsoever and just be, here's your character, here's your lines, just say them, you know? You gotta take a look at them and really think them over if you want to develop a truly good character. Well, in every scene, every character has some sort of motive, and you have to figure out what your character's individual scene motives are for each like line, yes, but you also have to figure out what his overarching motives are, because that's truly what defines the character, what drives him, what makes him want to succeed, I would say. And I tend to take a look at those and then just use those to guide myself along the process and say, what would he do if he had blank motive? It's normally the school shows that I tend to have the best chemistry in, because it's the people you hang out with the most. You know, you see them every single day of your life for a majority of the year. So I do think Addams Family was more fun to be in than Little Shop. People in there were more people that I knew since I'd already gotten used to the high school life. And it was just a good time. There wasn't really particularly too much drama in the show, which is nice. And I just liked everybody in the cast, so. I tend to try my best not to focus on the audience. because it's just easier to run it through your mind like it's just another rehearsal, just another practice, nobody's watching you, you know? Though I've performed on some thrust stages where the audience is right in front of you, so it's really hard to do that sometimes. So in those cases, you just pretty much gotta just keep going. It makes you nervous, but as long as you don't mess up, you can just pretty easily just blot them out. It's only once you mess up that you realize they're there and everybody's watching you. Oh yeah, 100%. It's I always enjoy it. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. That's why I do it. It's not like anything I plan on doing for like a job or a career, but it's just like something I do for a hobby, and I just enjoy seeing like another musical come up and just picturing myself on stage, you know, having a shot, singing my heart out, or acting my heart out, you know, whatever.